My name is Willie Martinez. I am a lending assistant, customer service representative for Happy State Bank. The most I love is working with people, and I think that we as a bank, we do that. You know, I think that's our culture. I think they go out and find those individuals that love to interact with individuals and love the conversation and love working and helping out and solving those problems that our customers can have. And I think that the culture, the helpfulness, I think that's what sets us apart.
We're missing two. Yeah, we still have a quorum.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. The first item on the list today, approval of your minutes from the meeting held last. Good. Thank you. Moving right along, we'll now enter the Kelly Shaw Show. Kelly will have the next three items. First item, ordinance 7376. This is the first reading of an ordinance for reinvestment zone number 8. This will accommodate a new facility that Bell Helicopter is constructing out there. In addition to including some of the additional property around that that's still owned by the Economic Development Corporation, it would be suitable for future expansion and potentially abatement. So, Kelly?
That's pretty much it. This is just a request from the Amarillo Economic Development Corporation to number one, to accommodate a tract of land where Bell Helicopter is planning on expanding their manufacturing facilities across kind of northeast from their current facilities across Tiltroder Drive. You know, kind of out there. It's about a 43-acre tract where they're going to be expanding those facilities. And in the very beginning, we talked about just expanding reinvestment zone number 7, which is already created. But there is no provision in state law to expand an existing reinvestment zone, so they said that you basically just had to create another one. So that's what we're doing, and then in talking with the EDC reps, they thought that it might help them in the future to go ahead and include the rest of their available tracts that are adjacent to this Bell Helicopter tracts. They go ahead and include those in this reinvestment zone. Reinvestment zone is good for 5 years, so they basically have 5 years to be able to do that, and it could be renewed. But that's the reason for the request, and on the sketch you can see it consists of a total of 5 different tracts, but they can all be under the same reinvestment zone. So anyway, that's what's on your schedule today.
6 tracks, isn't it?
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh yeah, 6.
Yeah, that's what I found. I said,
I forgot to count bells up there.
Down that park that's right above where it says BS&F, where is that not there?
No.
adjacent to F.
That's part of, I believe that's part of the Progress Rail.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's enough.
Okay. He's the city manager.
You passed there, in January, y'all passed another resolution extending your guidelines and criteria. So once this reinvestment zone is created, you have the ability to grant any kind of tax abatement if you want to. There's one coming for the expansion of the bills.
Are there other entities that need to consider this? No?
We just had to notify all the other taxing entities that we were creating a new zone, and we've done that. So all the state required notifications have been done.
Those will come in the other entities when an abatement's applied for, and they'll have the opportunity to consider that. This is creating the eligibility.
City attorney, city manager.
Any questions on reinvestment zone number 8?
Great.
Ordinance 7377, changing the zoning of lots 1 through 14, plus 56 through 64 out in Quail Creek. This is the new development that's going on out there. Okay.
This request this is a new subdivision just north of the existing Quail Creek subdivision, just to the east of the Citadel, or northeast. Kind of hard to get directions out here, but he had planned to do 0 lot line homes on his farthest north street. They're currently zoned R1, which is basically a maximum of 45% lot coverage. And with the zero lot line home, normally those types of homes, a lot of people call them garden homes, normally those types of homes are a larger footprint on a smaller lot. R1 is still our largest lot with our least amount of lot coverage. So with that kind of a development standard applied to that zone, he was afraid that that would really, in effect, produce a long, skinny home that would kind of look out of character with the rest of the homes around that subdivision. So, and it was really limiting to how big of a home he could build. So what he's requesting to do is change the R1 to R3, which is just a slightly smaller lot, excuse me, but allows up to 65% lot coverage. So it allows him to make a much bigger footprint there than what he has now.
Will the lots be smaller than those right across the street?
I'm sorry, residential district 2. I said residential district 1.
There are 2s right now being changed to R3s.
So, in effect, like I said, it would just allow him to build a much bigger house, have a bigger footprint,
more dense.
Yeah.
And be in character with the surrounding homes.
Whenever he first started this, or whenever in the neighborhood, there was huge questions about drainage on the city. Now that doesn't have to do with this, I realize.
Well, the plat certainly did, and we met with those homeowners 2 or 3 times. They were concerned as well they should be, but all of that has been worked out for quite a while, and drainage plan's been approved. Everybody seemed happy. But we did meet with the engineering department, met with those homeowners 2 or 3 times on that.
Okay. Because we made a pretty strong commitment to it. Okay.
We sent out notices. We're planning a zoning commission felt it was appropriate and recommended approval of it unanimously. We sent out notices, which really only got 2 other property owners other than Mr. Tchaikovsky, but we didn't receive any negative comments.
Any questions on ordinance 7377?
The sewer line on that development was as big as the drainage issue.
The accommodation of the sewer line is as big as
hopefully that's been worked out.
Item number 4, ordinance 7378, also a rezoning. This is for an existing operation with a specific use permit, and now we're amending the specific use permit. Kelly?
This tract, this lot, currently is being used as a daycare center. And what they were wanting to do is just expand that facility a little bit to house a few more kids. And it was expanding in the rear area of the existing facility. The original specific use permit, SUP 69, was approved back in 1983. And with that specific use permit, it had development standards for the land use for daycare center only, maximum building height, 1 story, a lot coverage and parking, and some pretty restrictive signage. But really the most important standards when you're that close to residential is your hours of operation, which were 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, and some landscaping. Basically all they're doing is just expanding, and really of the existing development standards, what they're changing is the occupancy, which would go from 93 to 135, although they say they don't think they'll have near that many people in there. That's just the occupancy load. Their lot coverage went from 17% to 31%, which would still is still much less than what the property was zoned originally. Some increase in parking, but the hours of operation, they instead of opening up at 7 o'clock Monday through Friday, then you're opening up at 6:30. Still not operating over the weekend and shutting down at 6 p.m. The landscaping just conforms to our normal landscaping regulations as they currently exist. Screen, there still will be a 6-foot solid wood fence along the property lines, and then also we wanted them to pay attention to any lighting that might be present getting to the residences to the north. In general, this is in that southeast corner of the Ridgecrest subdivision. And if you go by our neighborhood concept of development, this really is kind of a poster picture of that, where you have general retail uses, commercial type uses on the hard corner of that section, and then as you go inward, that development transitions into some high density residential development with some apartment complexes. And then right here you have some professional offices, and then this kind of a use, the daycare use, as you go on into the residential uses across the island from this. So it really is kind of a textbook of that neighborhood unit concept. And so the staff report pointed that out in 1983 when it was approved. We still think that the concept and the reasons that it was approved in the first place still exist today. I felt it was appropriate. The Planning and Zoning Commission felt it was appropriate and recommended unanimously to approve it. We did send out notices, and we did get one letter that was opposed, and it was the property owner directly across the alley from the daycare center. In their letter, they felt like it was going to maybe have a possible negative impact on their property values. But when we talked to them on the phone, it seemed like what they were more upset about was a lot of diapers in their trash can. And so we told them that that really was a problem. If that was their concern, we would certainly we could talk to the solid waste department. There have been some other non-residential uses that use the same alley and dumpsters, and we've placed extra dumpsters before. That's really the problem. We can handle it.
I don't know how many he has or has built, but he does a good job. Don Mason does with these daycares. Several.
Mm-hmm. They really weren't aware that they even had to go through this process again, but we told them since it was a specific use permit that they needed to, and plus it'd be better on their part, because if they didn't go through this process, if one of those neighbors complained, then they'd be in a tough spot, because
everybody ever told me.
Right. And they'd be in violation of the current zoning, basically. Mm-hmm. But other than that, no other comments.
Any questions on item 4? Okay, if none, we'll move to item number 5, ordinance 7379. This is the first reading of an ordinance appointing an associate judge. Such associate would fill the position that would be created when Judge Letson moves from associate judge to presiding judge January 1st of this year. The recommended appointee for such is Inda L. Crawford.
INDA?
INDA, correct. Comments or questions there? And the name is written into your ordinance there. We've got an extra I in the name. We'll fix that for your second reading, but that's who that is. Item number 6, and Kelly, I probably need your help on the first one just to be sure I say this correctly. Your Board of Review for Landmarks and Historic Districts. We need 3 appointments, one of which is technically a reassignment. And what this does, number 1, is it repopulates your board, but number 2, it puts them each with an assignment to represent an interest group that's required by the ordinance that creates the Board of Review for Landmarks and Historic Districts. The recommendations are Mr. Carson Burgess would represent banking.
Who is this right?
He's a current member, but I think is filling a public slot. L.B. Perkins, representing the building trade. Tom Thatcher, representing real estate. And does that cover it, Kelly, or that covers it? And does that bring you full staff, or does that bring you one down yet?
And all three, Bill Stewart, our full staff did, and Vanderpool all on off.
Person Burgess is getting reappointed, and Vanderpool basically going on.
Okay. Any questions on that group? Traffic Commission. When we first discussed this, of course, you had the one vacancy created by Mr. Graham's resignation. Since then, Mr. Leon Church has tendered to you his notice of recommendation or notice of resignation. And of course, that is because in January he will take his seat as a Potter County Commissioner. I think we have one recommended name, and we'll work on the second one for you. But for now, it would be Mr. Walt Kelly to fill the seat vacated by Mr. Graham.
I'm going to suggest somebody in the one-on-one class. And that's Lee Kodloff. I think I pronounced that right.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I think, he's got some good experience. He's got experience in the military, experience at AC. I think he can round that one out well.
And I don't know that we've had an opportunity to ask him.
No, we haven't.
We might have one later today, though.
We'll do that.
Well, but in Lily's motion, we would just leave.
No, we leave
Yeah.
that open.
Just take
We will fill one of the
action.
slots on that commission.
Right.
Well, she'll do the Walt Kelly, won't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to replace
Please.
Kim Gray.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay. Questions on your appointments, boards, and commissions? Hearing none, let's move to that somewhat lengthy consent agenda.
Same as long like last week.
Long like last week.
Tough to see.
Yeah, the floor was spinning the money. Wheel hydraulic excavator, otherwise known as a grader, more common name. You have a photograph of such unusual machine as part of your attachments. And of course, this will be going to your newly created drainage utility. Been asked about the trade value on the present 1998 one, and I don't have an answer other than the 98 model is the only one that we own. We've not traded, sold, or bought any in my tenure here. It's an unusual piece of equipment. As you can see, there's just very, very different manufacturers that will make and sell such a thing. So I can certainly get more if we need it. That's what I know is it.
That's it.
Those are used largely for our surface drainage channels to maintain the such.
How far out was the 610?
Well, I know they can leave them up in the roadway and work both sides of the ditch with them. That's why they're made that way. They don't have to drive it down in to do the work. And of course, it's usually supported by a dump truck. Put the material in.
Yep.
Okay. Let's just briefly talk about item number 8. Mayor and Commission, as you know, staff has gone through what's termed your inaugural class of the Amarillo 101 program. What their term might be the pilot program, or unofficially known as the guinea pigs. This was a group of 14 individuals that we started through a program very similar to the orientations that were done for the Commission back in the summer of 2011. In bringing these 14 in and starting them through that, they were here specifically not only to listen and hopefully to learn, but to provide back input to us. They all did so. They were all very active. They're surveyed every week when the classes are over. Yes, no questions, grade questions, and then actually, okay, now tell me in words, what would you do, what would you change? Gave us phenomenal feedback. Very much appreciate these folks doing this. They had 7 sessions, 5 classrooms, 2 kind of field trip days. Of course, field trips are fun, but one of them was the day we clocked the 67-mile-an-hour winds. So it got to be difficult just to stay standing as we finished up that. But we will have, I believe, 13, unless that's changed. 13 of them will be here. 12 will be here. 12 of them will be here. We would like to recognize them for helping staff do this. Yeah, down to 12. We've got a certificate to give them and a little city pin and a polo shirt for helping us do this. We'll also then announce the rollout of this program as a regular, annually recurring event. I'll talk a little bit about the dates when we get into this out in the open session. I think we'll shoot for class size of 20 when we move forward. That is based on the input from this group. You know, how many can we handle? How many can we get through a session with? Give them the information, have time to answer their questions, and still have the staff be able to have a close enough attention to them. You know, you develop that camaraderie and that depth and that ability for them to really look into it. But
Once a year?
At the moment, once a year.
Once every month, that would be a lot.
That would be a pretty big undertaking.
Okay, well, I knew you were considering doing this again in the spring.
I think that's when we'll do it.
Beginning with the spring of 2013.
Spring of 2013, I think we'll try to run the first one beginning immediately after spring break. And have that date written down. Beginning the week of March 21st. And what we'll do, similar to how Citizens Police Academy is populated, we'll of course take recommendations, nominations, volunteers from any and all. Have all of them fill out a simple one-page application, and we'll pull that down to the 20 for the class. And I'll tell you the biggest thing that we are looking for in terms of attendees is people that will commit to be there. That's what's important. Doing the 5 and the 2, we've learned that that's not quite enough. We really need to do 5 and 3. So we've taken what was a class session and we'll propose it instead as a field trip. Kind of take 2 out with 1, and thus free up some of our class time. Poor Miss Covey went 1, 2, 3 times to get through her one presentation.
Well, and I never got through.
We never finished it. So, and that's what a lot of this was. This was the staff learning how to do this. Oftentimes we could finish a session or start the following session while it's still fresh. You know, okay, too much, too little. Did Jarrett go too long? Dean didn't go long enough. And worked our way through that. So,
I didn't go long.
Vicki didn't go long.
You'll be pressed with 20 people to take the questions. You don't have to extra session.
Yeah, did we ask him to bring their notebooks?
Yes, sir.
I might grab one of yours and
I have mine all.
yeah, bring it up. I think it's just a very good opportunity. You know, the Amarillo residents, these are the stockholders, or the owners, if you will, of the corporation. It's the city of Amarillo. And I think an opportunity to show them the scope and the diversity of the city operations. Let them see that, let them form their own opinions, ask their own questions, and ultimately we might have some folks that are interested in something they might not even have known existed. And, I think you'll see many of these folks volunteer for future consideration by this body for boards and commissions. We'll have the mayor. I'll start that off today if you would allow me to, and just kind of briefly explain that, have all that on the record. Call the mayor and the 2 commissioners down to the front. If you would, I would like the mayor to hand out the actual certificates. And Jim and Lydia, if y'all will give them their pins and shirts, and give them an opportunity just to briefly, if they've got any comments they might want to make back to us.
Once we're finished doing it, handing out, presenting, then we'll come back up.
Yes, sir.
And take our seats and ask them.
Ask them to do their remarks then.
Yeah, after y'all would come back up.
But now there's also pictures to be taken. We do that as we hand them a certificate, or?
That's how you're going to do it when you put it in their hand?
Yeah, I'll just put the camera on one shot and then come up and take pictures.
Okay.
Now, will this be with the 3 of us, with
With each one of them.
or just the mayor?
No,
There'll be the 3 of you with each one of them.
Okay, well.
And then if you want, when we're done, after we finish the public forum, if they're still available, we could probably get a group picture. We've got numerous pictures of them, throughout this entire deal. And those will be running in a PowerPoint show while y'all are talking.
Good. Well done.
We appreciate your support for letting us do that, and again, appreciate these folks for the time that they spent and really for the feedback that they gave us.
Well, I think it will be years before we realize the positive aspects of what we'll gain from this, and a lot of them will never know about it. There'll be dinner tables, coffee shops, whatever, and a critical subject criticizing the city for this or that or whatever. Has a good chance of coming up, and they can refute a lot of that. Been there.
At least show the reality of what
Yeah, well, you don't need those guys.
what the reality is, why it's.
Well, just as we saw with this group when we did the field day service center, something as simple as driving a trash truck up to a dumpster and trying to empty it.
And then telling me I do 400 of those a day and not breaking it.
Especially 350 of them a day without ever getting out of gear. Gee,
We're understanding the liability of putting the cameras in the buses and how that got rid of a lot of liability. Things that would never occur to us. Great.
So it was a good group. Again, it was largely modeled after what you guys went through, with some tweaks here and there, and then as a result of their input, many more tweaks have been made. And we'll keep it going. Really would like to do it more than once a year, but just the time commitment, not only from both volunteers, but some of the staff.
Okay.
With that, we do have a brief discussion. I'd like to ask Dean to come up and have him go through. You'll recall, I think Commissioner Escahaden, he come up. Called on it last summer during some of our Every Drop Counts activities. The concept of doing irrigation system reviews for your high water users. Dean and his group have worked on that. Of course, we had it in your budget. We developed that and ultimately approved it in September of this year. He's about ready to turn that loose and see if we can get some licensed irrigation companies to respond to that. And he's got quick discussion and be sure that we're hitting the points that y'all think we need to hit. We'll just try it. So,
we did model this after a program that was in Carrollton that was successful. We're going to target households that use over 35,000 gallons of water in a month. That's quite a bit of water to be using. And then we're going to offer this irrigation inspection to them. It'll be a licensed irrigator that goes out to their home. Of course, first makes an appointment with them, then goes out to their home, and they'll first check the system for leaks, for broken heads, and then they'll check to make sure it's working properly, and hopefully educate the homeowner on how to make adjustments to it. A lot of them probably haven't been adjusted since they were installed. So now they'll also, we really struggled with this, if there's a minor repair that needs to be made, the person can offer to make a minor repair. They're not supposed to be selling them a new system. But if a head has come off their sprinkler system, they're just wasting water, so there's really no sense if they're there with the truck and everything not to fix a minor repair. But we didn't want it to really become a sales opportunity for a whole new system.
Yeah.
But they can make minor repairs. And if you're uncomfortable with that, we can take that out. But we thought our goal was conservation. And if they found a head that was shooting up water, why not fix it while they're there?
Well, and the consumer, the customer, the homeowner, whatever, has the option.
Definitely.
Say no, just do your audit. If I need repairs done, I'll
Well, that was the whole premise on that. One of our residents said, I'd like to know for sure what's going on with my system before somebody tries to sell me a complete new irrigation.
Oh, yeah.
But if they do a repair, they bill the homeowner for that first.
Definitely. Now, we would contract with them to go out and do the inspection. And we've got language in the RFP that when we run out of money, the program stops and we just start putting people on a list for next year. Or we can come back, if it's been popular and successful, ask for more money. But
what if they pay for it?
How many people are doing over 35,000?
In the summer, quite a few. We got over 50,000 customers.
Wow.
They're not all doing 35,000 plus.
Oh, there's plenty of them that do over 30.
Yeah, not 50,000 of them.
No.
No, there are users over 50,000 gallons a month.
Oh,
Yeah, it's.
How many total users?
I was asking the number.
If we don't know, that's fine.
Oh, I can get it for you. I don't
No,
have
that's
it.
fine. I mean, I assume that's an awful lot.
Well, we're starting to hit 32 billion a day right now. We're just now coming down to where our goals are. But, we're
What
going.
initiates this program? Will we send a letter out to these big users and say, here's a program that's available? Or?
What I'd like to, because it would help my billing people a lot, if you called and said my water bill's way too high, and they looked and you had used over 35,000 gallons, they could say, well, why don't we send somebody to look at your irrigation system and see if we can find where the problem is?
And we'll explain it's a private contract.
Yeah, and it gives them another tool to use when they get a high bill complaint. I think it'll be real popular with
What
my.
about with somebody that uses 32,000 gallons? You gotta give them a little wiggle room?
I would.
Okay.
Well, until we've done all the 35.
But I think it'll help
Getting
my.
them out there and doing it. I mean, whether it's 31,000, 39,000, it's going to start helping.
Sure.
The two things you hear, I didn't know my system ran that extra cycle a week. I didn't know I had a broken sprinkler head. They come on at 5 in the morning.
Will there be sort of a disclaimer sheet this contractor will present to them so we know they're saying we're not here to sell you a system, we're here to inspect it?
Yes, Dean's got a predefined checklist that they'll have to do on each system.
And they'll leave a customer satisfaction card also with the customer that hopefully they'll send back to us and we can start gauge who's doing a good job and who's not. Now, I think we need to run them all by the police department for criminal records. I don't want to send somebody to your house that shouldn't be there.
Talking about the irrigation contractors.
Is that a condition or state license?
I don't know. I asked for copies of all the licenses of the irrigators they're going to send. We'll have the police department make sure there are people that should be sent to your house. Because we're going beyond awareness. We've been working on making people aware of conservation to, the next step, which is doing something in your home about it.
Yeah, I think this is just another tool in the toolbox. Now that we've gone with our plan and so forth, I just think it's an excellent way to offer an extra value.
And we'll get the customer satisfaction cards back, hopefully, and we'll be able to report back to you if they like it, hate it, or hopefully it's successful. But again, we modeled it after Carrollton.
Will we be putting that on our website as the season approaches so people can look it up? Or maybe somebody can do a special interest story and get the word out.
Well, what I'd like to do, and I've got a calendar in here I might have to change, but the first thing I want to do is just meet with the irrigators and let them look over this and get their thoughts. Everybody else has responded to it, and show them it's a draft and let them look at it.
Yeah,
See,
so get them buy-in.
Yeah.
We don't want to design a program that for whatever reason they can't actually deliver.
How many of these inspections do you think you'll be able to do a year?
What do you think they'll charge us? $30 an inspection?
I think you'd have been a little over 100.
100? Oh, 2,500. 2,500 then.
We've tried different things in the past. We've had the rain-free sensor rebate program, of course, the rain barrel program, and yes, I think the general public awareness and interest is coming up. This is a program that's aimed at helping you in your pocketbook. It's not saying don't use the water. It's saying use the water wisely and efficiently. And if for some reason your system may or may not be doing that, here's a way to find out from a professional. Not us. But,
We may on the next budget cycle consider 4 tiers instead of 3, like there 3 currently.
That's under discussion.
Mm-hmm.
A 4th tier on top.
Yeah.
Well, the 3rd tier is not that old of a concept.
No, we've got a 4th. It's 456, I think, 1,000.
4?
Yeah.
It went from 3 to 4?
It's that fourth tier is about 456.
So there is 4 tiers today.
And that's over 50,000. And I have people that hit there.
Oh, yeah.
But the tiers are structured where you pay more on a per unit basis as you use more water.
Mm-hmm.
But it protects the customer that's using 10,000 or less.
Mm-hmm.
So we always measure real good against other cities for 10,000 or less because that customer is using it mainly for cooking and cleaning and maybe some irrigation. But when they get into those higher numbers, they're really paying.
Yes, they should.
Well, I think that, as we start this program, that we, if we run out of money quickly because people are taking us up on it, that at some point in time we may say, well, we're glad to do it, the fee will be X number of dollars if you're willing to pay it. We'll continue to use the same vendors, as you will, to do these inspections, but since we only have so much money in the budget, once we get past that, we can't do it free.
Well, the contractors may agree to do a pretty discounted rate to get that business.
Yeah, and it would be more business for them.
Yeah.
Puts them directly in touch with consumers and potential customers.
Yeah, sure. I think it's great. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, and they'll give us a proposal to do the inspection, but you need to know there's also, they put in a fee for no-show. If they make an appointment with somebody, they go there and they wait 15 minutes and the homeowner doesn't come, then they'll charge a no-show fee.
Are they going to use cell phones to get a hold of people? Because that's how most of the service providers do it.
The customer will provide us the contact information, however they choose to do that.
But we'll, if you're okay with it, we'll meet with the landscape people and then go from there.
Good.
Thank you.
Just briefly, I'm going to ask the mayor if we could begin our process of moving into a closed session. That was the class notebook that they built as they went through.
Good.
Which is substantially less than the budget books y'all went through.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, we may have a bigger binder for them next time.
Okay.
Good problem.
All right, the Mayor and Commissioner will call a closed session pursuant to the following exceptions of the Pennsylvania Meetings Act. First, consult with attorney about pending or contemplated litigation or settlement of same.